Brittany. So today's gonna be a popcorn chat video, and today we're gonna be discussing Batman Returns. So it was released June 19th, 1992, and this this is such like a really great Batman sequel, and Tim Burns, he did such a good job directing it, and in fact, I know with most sequels, they're probably directed by different directors, depending on the script and the story. But in this case, this is like the first, I think, Batman sequel directed by Tim Burton himself. And in fact, this one really did good. And it really does have that comic book feel to it, but at the same time very gothic and dark as well. And that really settles it. That really sets the tone for the story and the atmosphere of this movie. And I think the costume designs in this one are really great, and especially the bat suit, how it looks in Batman Returns. It's very different from the first, and yeah, they did a pretty good job designing the bat suit, and and the Batmobile as well. Like, who could not? Like, you cannot go wrong with the Batmobile. So yeah, I really liked how even that looked, in that one, and how I think at some point, there was a scene where you have at some point there was a scene where he's like, because the police were after him, so the somehow the Batmobile changed and he was able to get through this really tight space between the, I think, two buildings. So he was able to get through that, but of course the police couldn't, because their cars are not like that. They don't have anything where they can um, change form and somehow get through a really tight space. So, nope. And yeah, it's just the costume designs on everything on the characters are just really great, and even the atmosphere of the movie is great. Like I said, it really sets the tone because it has more of the dark gothic tone to it, and yeah, with this one it does feel like, when you see it, it does feel like a Tim Burton movie, because of the tone and everything and the setting and the scenery. So yeah, it really does. And yeah, and just everything about it is just really great. The cast is great, and you know, there's just so much to talk about of this movie. Yeah, the cast is great. The music. I'm sorry, losing my voice. Yeah, so Danny DeVito, he really did a good job as the Penguin, because at some point you feel bad for him because of what happened to him. When his parents just abandoned him like that, and and he ended up in the sewer, growing up with penguins and I think clowns. I think people from the circus. So that's how he grew up. So of course you feel bad for him of that, of how he didn't have that kind of childhood where he would be loved by his parents, and and just to, you know, like he didn't really have a good and happy childhood, so of course you feel bad for him on that level. But then when he's like trying to take over and he's trying to do things that aren't so good, then yeah, it's like, then you're like, okay, like this isn't good. But then he goes a little bit, actually no, not a little bit. He does go too far though, like when, you know, when he crashes the party and then he announces to everyone at the party that all their firstborn sons are gonna be, you know, kidnapped, and that he's gonna, you know, kidnap them, and that how they will be in his shoes, like how he was when he was a baby, you know, neglected and abandoned by his parents, you know, a long time ago. So yeah, that's not so good on his part. And so yeah, of course, you know, he he is, you know, the bad guy in this movie, but then again, so is Christopher Walken's character, although he's not really much of an arch nemesis to Batman per se, but he's still not a good guy because he's just up to something, and you know what he's up to is just not good at all. And Catwoman, though, I'm not quite sure. uh, Now I don't think that's really been confirmed. Like, I'm not sure if anyone has confirmed saying either she was a villain or maybe an anti-hero, you know, where she, like, in a way she is kind of like a bad guy, like when she does these things, but then again she's somewhat like an anti-hero, and somehow she does do good when it comes to certain things on her part. Like, I don't know, like, because yeah, I can't really say for sure that Catwoman is completely like a whole as a villain, because you know, I mean, of course we've seen her doing stuff, but we don't see her doing things of like with Christopher Walken's character, so nothing like that. We don't see her doing anything that seems completely, you know, that bad. You know, nothing scary or dark or anyway. You know, nothing like that. Although what she does on her part does take a very dark turn at the end, which I'll get to that later. Um, so yeah, I think I say she's probably somewhat a little bit of a villain, especially like when she's like fighting off Batman and she wants to like I think when she wants to get revenge on Max, you know, to kill him because of what he did to her, and somehow she, I don't know, there's this somewhat connection and chemistry between her and Batman, but of course what she doesn't know is that, of course, she comes to find out later that it's Bruce who's Batman, which is why she feels the way she does. But of course, she doesn't know that until later. And so yeah, I think that there was an interview that Michelle Pfeiffer did. She said that that yeah, I think that when you watch the movie, it's completely up to you on how you see Catwoman, whether if you either do see her as the villain or a hero, or maybe a little bit of both. But other than that, her, I think her character's how do you put it? I think her character's occupation when it comes to that, either a hero, or villain, I think it's not There's no confirmation on that, and I wish there was because with me, when it comes to characters, it's like I would want to know because, of course, when you do watch a movie, you know who's the bad guy, who's the good guy. Because you know who the villains are and who the heroes are. But in this case, with Catwoman, it's like it's hard to tell because she doesn't seem that bad, so I can't really call her a villain. But then again, she hasn't done anything good. I mean, maybe on some things she did, but I don't think she's done anything in a way that would actually make her like a hero, really. Like a superhero in any way. So it's kind of hard to tell. So with me, good. Okay, so with me, I would say that in some ways she is a villain, especially when she's up to no good and she wants to get revenge, and she doesn't seem to be thinking straight, and she just does things without thinking, without of course, without knowing the consequences, if I say that right. Without considering the things that could happen if she takes those actions that are not so good. So if she does anything that's bad in any way, then yeah, then she is considered as a villain. But if she does anything that's good, whether if it's saving someone or doing something for someone, uh, to help in any way, and if she's being selfless, then yeah, then that would make her a hero. But I think in a way she's probably like a little bit of villain, but like I said, probably like an anti-hero as well. So that's pretty much how I see her. um, but yeah, she did a really good job, Michelle Pfeiffer. She did an amazing job as Catwoman, and I can't picture anybody else to play Catwoman because the way she did, with her performance as Catwoman, like is just so good. It's very convincing, and it's entertaining, and yeah, it's entertaining to watch. Just to see her, like her character being transformed in that way from being like where she's like quiet and it's like she wants to say something but she doesn't, she just keeps it to herself, and she goes from there to all of a sudden being changed just by being pushed out of the window, and she comes back alive, and she has this whole different attitude and personality, and she becomes Catwoman. So that is a completely different change on her character, and it's just very interesting to see that. And of course, it's also really great to see Michael Keaton back again as Bruce, Batman. So yeah, it's just great because he's also very convincing as this, very mysterious, character. Like I think both as in Bruce Wayne, but also Batman. So yeah, he does a good job playing their character very well, where you don't quite know what he's thinking, and yeah, he plays it very well because he plays it very convincing, very mysterious, and he does that pretty well. And Christopher Walken as Max Schreck, he does a good job with his character because he's been known for playing villains in movies. I think even one in the James Bond movie, and that one I haven't seen. I think that one is called A View to Kill. Yeah, and I haven't seen that one though. Although I would like to see that just because I have watched a few, no, probably several James Bond movies. So yeah, I would like to watch just a bit more of those. But anyway, this is not James Bond here. This is Batman. But yes, just wanted to say that. Um, so yeah, I mean, because he's known for his roles as playing the villains, even one in Sleepy Hollow, is like, phew. I think that one especially is like, well, there are some parts where you do see him where his character isn't, um, you know, headless, but you know, still, I think he played that character quite well. Um, yeah, even in this one, very convincing, and of course, you know, when you watch his performance as the character, yeah, you really do feel like, you know, like his character, like the way um, he talks and the things he says, and just the way how, you know, pretty much how he acts and behaves in the movie, you know, his character, like it just makes you feel uneasy and uncomfortable, and kind of makes you feel like you need to back away because you don't know what he could do, what he's up to, what he's really thinking. You know, especially like when he pushed Selena right out the window. She falls, she dies, and cats start nibbling on her, you know, on her fingers, and her eyes all twitchy, and then she comes back. She's alive, and yeah, she becomes Catwoman with a whole different personality. So, and I have to say, because what he did was quite unexpected, I think, you know, that's what makes it shocking and uneasy. And it's like, okay, that's a character you don't want to be too close to, because then he might push you out the window, or I don't know, he might push you into a pool of sharks. Like, you just don't know, because you don't know what his intentions are. So that is dark. And yes, so other than that, yeah, he does a really good job with this role. I think it really fits in well with the other performances as well, with the cast, and everyone did such a good job on their part. And yeah, I would say there are just certain parts where I was taken by surprise, and I'm just like, whoa, like what? Um, like I think the one thing I did not quite like is when, what was it? I think either when the penguin was trying to run for mayor, or I think when it was announced that he is mayor or something. I forgot how that part went. But you know how there's like balloons, he comes down the stairs and everyone's clapping. Now with that part, okay, you know how when he said something to someone, I forgot what it was. He said something and the guy repeated what he said, and all of a sudden he bites, you know, the guy's nose, and blood is like just came gushing out. Like, yeah, I did don't quite like that part, because like, okay, why do you have to go bite somebody's nose like that? Like, yeah, like even if you don't like them, like whether they did or didn't do or say anything to make, you know, for him to not have liked him, like, still, you don't go biting someone's nose like that. Like, that's just not good. Like, you don't do things like that. That's just insane. But of course, he's the penguin, so maybe he just acted out and just wasn't thinking straight. You know, that's all I have to say about that. But yeah, that part was like, okay. Um, but yeah, there are some parts I do like though. Although I think I should mention the parts I don't like. Although I think I have mentioned that in my movie review, I believe. Yeah, but trying to think what else is there. But yeah, another part I don't like is of course the very end. Now, of course, I don't like the part where Max pushes Selena out the window like that. Like that is just very uneasy to watch. Like, yeah, just don't like that part because that was dark, and that was like, okay, this guy's bad. He's up to no good. But then again, I don't like how she ends up killing him at the end because it was very horrific to see. It was graphic. And now I do remember watching Batman Returns when I was quite little. I don't remember how old I was. I'm guessing I was probably either maybe around 5 or 6, around there, I guess. But even to this day, even when I still watch it, it's like, and just the fact that when she kills him, she's holding what do you call those things? A taser. Um, I know they're called something else. I just can't think of it. And when she's holding that long electric cord, like above him, so it's like, yeah. So when she electrocutes him like that with two different things that are, electric, it's like, I think at some point when he was being electrocuted to death, I think at some point she just fled the scene because we don't even see Catwoman after that. In fact, I don't think they see her when she's there. Like when this whole thing's going on and the things that's just like exploding. Yeah, I don't think we really see her that much. You know? Yeah, like I said, I don't really think we see Catwoman that much because she fled the scene, and of course, Bruce, with his mask taken off and everything, it's like he's the one seeing all of this, and it goes on, but then at some point after that happens, he, I think he's like trying to find Max, and so of course when he uncovers, like, you see him, like he's just like lying there on that thing, and his mouth is wide open, his eyes are wide, but his eyes are just like are popping out, and his hair is like all up, from being electrocuted to death, and yeah, he's like burnt to crisp, like real bad. I I just don't like how he was killed, and killed that way in a very graphic and dark, disturbing way like that, because that is too much to see, in my opinion. And nope, no, thank you. Um, cause yeah, I just don't like seeing that. Like I said, it's just too much to see, and I think maybe they shouldn't have shown that, but um, they did. Although, yeah, I did have a dream that he was electrocuted to death, although he wasn't. It wasn't in a way where he was burnt to death. Nothing like that. He actually nothing changed really. Like he looked the same, but the thing that did change was he came back alive with electric powers. And if you want to see that, I will leave that video in the iCard up here of the video. So if you want to check that out, feel free. Yeah, that is too graphic and disturbing. Personally, like in my opinion. So yeah, those are the parts I don't like. But other than that, there are parts I do like. Like when, especially when Bruce and Selena have those moments alone together, because you see the connection and chemistry that they have, and you can see that they yeah, they do have things in common, and that they have like a dark past, but at the same time they're also quite mysterious, but they're very drawn to each other. So yeah, I like those parts. And even the part where they're dancing, but then he realizes she's Catwoman, and she realizes he's Batman. And so, and of course I do like the ending though. I do, well, not the that part of the ending, but after that. Cause yeah, after that, everything stopped, and he hasn't seen her since she killed him. And of course he sees this shadow, but then he doesn't see her, but he sees a black cat, picks it up, and takes it home with him. And oh yeah, around that time it was actually Christmas. It was Christmas morning at the end of the movie. Yep. And so of course later, when you see the car driving off, you see the bat signal, but then you see Catwoman. Now of course, with Catwoman though, I think when you see her, I think it was meant, because I've read something that when you see her at the end, that she was supposed to come back in her own spin-off movie. But of course that movie didn't go so well, because instead of Michelle Pfeiffer coming back as Catwoman, instead there was a whole different take on Catwoman, with Halle Berry. And yeah, I have seen that one, and yeah, to be honest, I don't like it. Like, I think either they could have done something better with it, or, maybe try to change something and probably try to stick to somewhat of the original. Or maybe they could have just not done it and just have left it alone, you know? But yeah, either way, yeah, that didn't turn out so good. And yeah, so that's what was supposed to happen. But, that didn't really happen for Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, but it happened for this whole different other Catwoman that came out somewhere in the 2000s. So, and yeah. But of course, at the end, when you do see Catwoman, it's not like you're seeing this mirage or this somewhat ghost of Catwoman, because she's not dead. She is in fact alive. It's just that, you know, she was supposed to come back in her own movie, but never that never happened for Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. So, yeah, too bad for that. So, uh, yeah, this is again a really great movie. It's a really great sequel to Batman. Although, as I have mentioned, that although this is a really great sequel, um, and since it does have that dark tone to it, um, now of course the dark tone does fits in well with the story and everything in it of the movie. Although the dark tone, like yeah, you know, like I said, it's good, but um, it's not exactly my favorite. Like, you know, like I said, I like it. I really like it. Although the dark tone of the movie, it's it that is not really quite my cup of tea. But like I said, I do like it, but not a favorite. Sorry, but for those who's who really love this movie and that's your favorite, you know, that's good. You know, I'm happy like for you. Like yeah, cause you know I don't blame you if you call it your favorite. You know, like cause it is good. It is. It is really great. So that is all for this movie discussion on Batman Returns, and let me know if it's your favorite, and let me know what your thoughts on it on Batman Returns and whether what could have been different and all that. You know what? Maybe before I go, I could mention one thing about the movie because I feel like I just have to read it because this is something I did not know about. And if any of you has known about this, let me know because I did not know. Because for a long time, I did not know about this. Okay, let me try to find it. Okay, trying to look for a comment here. Okay, hang on one sec. Okay, sorry about that. I couldn't find the comment where, cause someone left a comment saying exactly what what Max Shrek was up to. Cause for a long time I never knew exactly what he was up to. But I read something that he wanted to build a power plant to take over Gotham's electricity. Now that's true, then that is just crazy. And when you think about it, the him wanting to build a power plant to take over Gotham's electricity, then maybe somehow that's why in the dream that I had that he died but came back with electric powers. I mean, wow, and that would have been oh, that would have been like really insane. Like if you think about it, if he had came back as a arch nemesis, a super villain with powers, electric powers, then he could easily just take, you know, Gotham's electricity with his electric powers. Oh, that would be like completely like, oh my gosh, you know. And I've read that the other character, Dr. Crane, I think, no, wait, Doctor or Mayor, I don't know, whichever, whatever, but someone one of the characters is putting like pouring like thousands of this, you know, toxin into the water supply. I think to drive Gotham citizens crazy. And my question is, what kind of toxin? What is it? Like, is it the kind that makes people mentally insane, or is it the kind that makes people crazy in a different kind of way? Like, are they gonna turn into, are they gonna turn into zombies? Oh, that would have been bad. Or maybe turn them into monsters in like a weird creature type of monster kind of thing. Like what? I don't know. I feel like I need to know that. So that's what they were both up to in the movie, but of course that wasn't confirmed. There was no clarification on exactly what they were doing. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, they are up to something, but we can't know, or somehow, you know, there's just no explanation. It's like, you know, it's like as much as you try to find the answer, you won't get any because they don't say it in the movie. And that's very frustrating too. It's like, just say it. You know, just spill the beans. Just say what you're up to so that way everyone would know when they're watching the movie. But of course, when you do watch it, it's like, wait, what are they doing? So yeah, I find it frustrating though, because as many times as I've watched it, I'm like, wait, what is going on? Something about toxic waste being poured into the water, and something about, huh? So yeah, each time I've watched it, I was confused, but now I know, and now you know. And in case if you have known that, then at least you know. But for those who probably didn't know and just you're confused like I was, then I'm glad I told you because yeah, there is some quite confusion when I was watching it. So, hmm so that is all for this popcorn chat video, and let me know your thoughts on Batman Returns and maybe what could have been different, or you just love it the way it is, or just anything really. And that's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.